Mosaic, good to speak to you. I'm Dave Lawson. I serve in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I have a case study for us that's going to help highlight what Friedman calls emotional triangles, talking about how a relationship between two people is unstable, and often either an issue or someone else can be a part of these situations. It's a way of perceiving relationships that helps us see maybe some of the hidden things going on, maybe in ourselves, people we lead. Emotional triangles, he defines the manner in which a relationship between any two people or a given individual and his or her symptoms can be functioning of an often unseen third person relationship or issue between them. He makes the conjecture that actually there are maybe no such things as two-person relationships. They make it difficult, these emotional triangles make it difficult for people to modify their thinking and behavior. They transmit a system stress to the most responsible or more focused members of that team. And he says these triangles form because of an inherent instability of a two-person relationship. This instability increases because of a lack of differentiation of the partners, the degree of chronic anxiety in the surrounding emotional atmosphere, and the absence of well-defined leadership. He goes on to say in his own practice that he sees the power of these emotional triangles play out well when he encourages parents to differentiate from their child, that they are who they are, the child is who they are, and that they really know who they are, not trying to control or take on all the responsibility and weights of the kids, as he encourages parents to create distance between themselves and a child. It changes the parents' relationship as they self-differentiate. It changes the marriage. And so he's saying that you can't deal with just one part of the relationship. You got to see the triangle that's happening. It's not just between parents and kids in a counseling setting. So I lead a team of young 20-something leaders, often that have come through a youth ministry program, have come to know Jesus, and are young in their experience of leading, and their leadership is young, and we're doing a lot of development work. One such story, and I've changed the names here obviously, but Jim and Pam are both young, charismatic leaders. Both have helped a number of students come to know Jesus that were not connected to Jesus or any community of faith. So they have like a proven track record of helping others make a first step towards Jesus. So great people. They begin a dating relationship that seems on the outside as healthy as I could perceive, and as the other leaders could on our team. But it began to seem that there was something deeper going on, as they often were triggered by each other. They tried to break up, like this wasn't healthy, was short-lived. But as their relationship was ended, it appeared much like they were still dating from the outside. Still lots of texting, lots of presence, occasionally some physical contact that made it feel like, I think you guys are behaving as if you're dating. Yet they said, no, we're no longer dating. They're unable to kind of differentiate from self. They couldn't be who they were. They felt kind of bonded together. We as leaders on this team, trying to help these new young leaders make their best steps, saw that they were like unable to differentiate. And so we found an opportunity for Jim to lead across the country, thinking distance would help them live what they said. Sadly, that was short-lived. Jim didn't like this space at a camp that we found for him to serve. And after a month or so, came back kind of feeling dejected and that he had lost his energy out on this team. And when he came back, Pam and him had been texting much as they had been beforehand. But Jim decided not to date Pam, and on his way home told Pam that he was dating one of her good friends, Erin. Apparently they had been texting while he was away. And so there's a relational triangle between Jim and these two girls, Erin and Pam. Things are really messy on our team. Side taking happens. I have young leaders, so they felt they were either on Team Pam or Team Erin for a number of reasons, which added a ton of stress to our team. And eventually we couldn't hold out with this. We had to find different opportunities for these leaders. Jim, we didn't let back onto our team for some obvious reasons, as he seemed to be unable to maintain a healthy relationship with just one woman. He seemed to need this energy from all of them. I think, this is conjecture, of course, but I think there's a deep-seated need to be wanted, and to ever feel unwanted was too scary. And so he found part of his value in having people want him, and in this kind of messy emotional triangle, because he couldn't handle the risk of actually being rejected. Things eventually blew up in Jim's face when it came out that he never quit texting Pam while dating Aaron, and eventually it was just too unhealthy for either of these women to continue to be there. But it was a series of a year or more where this problem was happening, and leaders did everything we could to help them differentiate themselves from each other, and help this triangle not be what it is. Thankfully, these were stories while these leaders were young, and the Lord is faithful, and they were able to differentiate and get a clearer understanding of who they are, who the Lord says they are, and be able to have relationships not dependent upon this messy triangle. So I think the challenge for us as leaders, as we look at and apply this idea, that we need to see the differentiation of self, that they need to have, we as leaders need to have healthy boundaries of who we are, what we can expect. And we need to help our younger leaders perceive this and see this emotional triangle. I think there's other things that Friedman would say that were at play that are beneath the surface. This young man, he had issues that didn't allow, he had some kind of need that he was trying to fill in these other ways with these relationships with the women. And so he would need to deal with that. And so it's trying to help us as leaders see a more complex emotional problem than just, oh, it's between him and this one girl now. It's between him and this one girl, that we want to see how these triangles can form when there's lack of self-differentiation. Hopefully that's helpful.